Alright, so I'm still having issues with live streaming, so I guess I am just going to have to record from now on until whatever's going on my internet's taken care of, or if it's on YouTube's end that's acting up. But anyways, if you guys are new to the channel, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification icon so you know when I'm uploading and streaming. And this will be Lake of Voices Part 2.2. The first part technically is up on the channel, so if you guys want to go check that out, give it much love. Let's try and hit 1,000 views like one of my videos hit. And still getting views. You know, it's a game I will never play again, and it's Free Fire, mostly because it's on the phone and it's a pain in the butt to play on a mobile phone. A shooter. An FPS shooter. Or now, if they had a PC version that was free, I'll gladly play like crazy. But anyways, here goes quiet between us once more. A distinct justing of the leaves around catches my attention. The guide appears emerging from the thicket. Margaret appears to be a little uncomfortable to his return. Bemo glares at him as he makes his way over.
The Nixie will not tread on land in daylight. However, being near the shoreline is still dangerous. If you leave the center of the island, remain cautious. Before the sun sets, I will be in this area. It would be wise to meet me here before nightfall.
Why did we have to leave him behind?
A sharp return towards Bormel as he snails and confronts the guide.
If you would just let him follow behind us, he would be alive.
The guy looks away, seemingly unaffected.
If all you're going to do is leave everyone to be lost, then why bother guiding us at all?
Despite Bemo's severe words, the guide apparently considers his piece here finished. He turns towards the forest area for which he came.
Wait!
Bemo calls out to the guide, reaching towards him before he can make contact. I quickly place my hand on his shoulder. He lowers his arm to his side, though I can still feel wrath emanating from him. We stay this way until the guide disappears from view. Bemo begins to kick at the ground, spraying tiny pieces of gravel about.
Bemele, I know you're angry, but regardless of our feelings, we need the guide. If he leaves us, we'll all die.
And we've done so well with him?
I give him a cold glance. You won't even know which bridge to take without the guide. Bemo knows that. This needs to stop. There are people counting on us to make it back, and what of Margaret?
We can't afford to lose our way.
The anger etched into his expression fades into sadness.
You're right, Kika. You're right.
He weakly swats his hand in front of his face as if he's trying to shoo away his racing thoughts.
I can't stay here right now.
I nod, allowing him to leave alone. Beside me, Margaret releases a sigh.
Are you alright?
No, I'm not. Nothing is alright. It will never get any better.
Margaret sucks in a breath as she starts to get emotional. Before it can spill out of her, she turns on her heels and walks off in a direction different than the guide's. Quietly, I speak. My voice was too soft for her to hear. Lingering for only a moment, I start following the trail Margaret took. I catch up Margaret and I notice that her eyes are glistening with tears. As I try to move closer, she turns on me sharply.
What do you want?
I take a step back and keep my voice low.
I was worried.
Well, there certainly is a lot to be worried about.
Yeah. I can tell she does not appreciate my concern, but that's only to be expected. I've seen people react to grief and death in dozens of different ways. And she has every reason to be upset, sitting on an island surrounded by a lake that breeds death.
I promise I will do everything I can to make sure you survive through the next night. So...
That's not the problem.
Her words begin strong, but falter and soften as she speaks. I can't even watch her without the slightest idea what to do. Margaret sits at the top of a large mass of roots and covers her face with her hands. I'll be right back. Alright, I am back. Let's step over to her and kneel down so that I can be at eye level again. Excuse me.
Margaret?
She twists her body away from me.
Leave me alone.
No, I will not leave you.
Margaret huffs, looking my way again, only to properly glare.
Do you even know why I came out here? It wasn't as though I had anywhere important to be.
Then why? Why would you risk this journey?
And I did it again. I gotta remember not to touch the mouse wheel.
Surely you already know the heart of my distress. Haven't you ever considered what you would do if you weren't able to be a guard?
She makes a point too good to dismiss, and I inwardly flinch when I consider it.
Yes. I originally sought this path not because I wished to protect others, but because I was concerned for my own self.
I don't blame you. If I had your coordination and ability, I would have learned to fight as well. As it stands, I cannot change what I am.
But yet there is a lot of anime gals with glasses that can fight. And kick like a lot of ass.
The settlement I come from is small, barely staving off collapse, really. The same as your town. You don't have to tell me which it is. They are all that way. My only real skill is the knowledge I've worked so hard to obtain. But, of course, a tiny village full of starving hunter-gatherers doesn't have much use for someone well-versed in history or management theories.
Can I just say that I like the artwork for this game and the fact that they actually have pretty good voice acting. And if I remember right, I think this is free on Steam. It is free, obviously, if I'm playing it, because most of my games are going to be free games I can find that work on my PC, which sadly are going to be mostly games like this, visual novels, or pixelated games. Because sadly, my computer's outdated, so it can't handle anything. Like, it can handle Fault 3, because it only needs 512 megabytes to run, so it'll be able to do that probably with no issues. I don't know about the graphics. If my graphics card on my computer, the standalone one that's built into the computer, will be able to handle it. But like I said, when I do get this new PC, it will have at least, well, it will have at least a 4 gig graphics card, which it has a 2 gig one built into it, so I'll be able to use that for a while. And it should be a little more HD than what it is right now for you guys, because I can still watch in HD, but it's like having components for HD. So if you ever use components to play any games in HD compared to HDMI to play in HD, you know there is a big difference in how clear and sharp the image is. So VGA is what I'm using for video cord, going from the PC to my TV, which I'm using as a monitor. And the graphics are like that they would be if I was using the component cable, kind of not sharp as they should be, like if I was using the HDMI, which I do have an HDMI. So when I do get this new motherboard on my new computer, I have an HDMI, so that's one less thing I gotta pay for. I have a power supply that's on my old PC that will work on it, so I don't have to worry about power supply. Got my hard drives, even though I would prefer to have a newer, bigger hard drive, because who knows when these things are gonna give out, especially an account that is already having issues with starting up. Like I have to turn the computer off, then on, then it'll start. But you had to sit there and wait till you hear the hard drive clicking over for it to start on a computer.
Even if there are positions that require such knowledge, they are always given to those who are far older than myself.
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to do? Continue to barely survive by being one of many seamstresses? Keep being pushed around by any person more powerful or with higher social connections?
Yeah. It's like...
Leaving there would only take me back to the same position. It won't ever change that way.
I want to not live stream over so I can test F3. She drops her head into her hands and sobs. My heart aches as I kneel beside her, watching her shuddering form. I feel helpless, but what can I do? These problems are much different from what I have dealt with. Eventually, Margaret seems to pull herself together.
No, I was tired of accepting those options. Sinlos was my only chance. Only now do I realize how ridiculous a notion that is. Anyone who comes to this lake with a sense of hope will surely have it crushed.
Ooh. Oh, great, my internet. Yeah. Let me go to the regular 2G, not the boosted 2G. Yeah, I gotta let my friend that owns the thing know that, hey. And I just noticed this whole time that this has been up. That's pretty cool. That's from OBS Studios. And as you can see, I can't, lower this anymore. It's not even giving me the option. Can I, like... Alright, let's do this again. Okay, well, anyways. But that's pretty cool. That's how I was able to tell the stream and everything and how long I'm going to be recording. I wish all my games were like that when I windowed, because that'd be so nice to be able to sit there and actually see the record time. But anyways.
Are you saying you wanted to become a guide?
Oh, she wanted to become a guide?
Yes. Laugh at my ambition if you wish. People may fear the current guide, and may even blame him for the people he cannot save. But at least he has respect. Not only that, the heads of the area give him enough support to live a comfortable life. From all I'd gathered about the lake, being strong or good with a weapon didn't matter a lick. The most important qualities for a guide were being observant and shrewd, and being able to look past the struggles of someone else.
So that's what she wanted to be. She wanted to be a guide just like the current guide. Heartless and getting people to where they are able to keep up with them to a destination that they need to get to when they have to cross the lake. Which I suppose you will have to be emotionless and heartless, because you got to be able to get the people that you're able to save to safety. The ones that can't keep up or not pay attention to their surroundings and get lost are the ones that have to be left behind for the sake of the others. Alright. I'm gonna continue recording until like 1:30. So if we make it to our destination or not, we'll save it and do it some other time down the road. So let's continue.
How wrong I was.
Her voice rises.
I haven't the slightest ability to deal with sinking bridges and confrontations with those horrible monsters. And even though I thought I'd lost all ability to care about the troubles of others, I still feel awful about what happened earlier. I haven't a chance of making it as a guide, which means I have no hope anywhere.
She covers her face once more and resumes her cries. Hesitantly, I reach out and place my hand on her shoulder. Surprisingly, she doesn't shake it off. She sits quietly like that for several moments.
You don't have to be a guide. Once this is over, you never have to come back here. There has to be something else out there for you. And if something does not yet exist, then we can create it ourselves.
Margaret chortles a bit.
What a silly idea. But if I did have to choose between returning to the normal world or staying here, I'd rather go back home.
I squeeze her shoulder and she at last looks up at me, the tears gone from her eyes.
Thank you for sharing this with me.
Thank you for listening. You have an unexpectedly soft heart.
She must have noticed the slight twinge in my face.
That isn't a bad thing, Kika.
I look away, eyes towards the ground.
I know it can hurt to care, but it also lets you lessen the pain of others. I think it would be much better if everyone cared a little bit more, rather than less.
I feel tears forming in my eyes now as I smile back at Margaret.
Thank you.
Margaret returns my look. I take a seat on the roots beside her, and for a time we sit in silence, simply being there for one another. Eventually, I turn towards her.
Perhaps we should go check how everything is on the island.
Hey, if you guys really want to help out, I do need glasses. Hence, if you guys can tell them, sometimes I can't figure out what a word's saying, and it's because I'm squinting, trying to read what it says. Margaret nods. I've been wearing glasses since I was 8, so...
That seems like a fair thing to do. We can't keep sitting here forever, unfortunately. I'll come with you.
And the last time I had a pair of glasses is when I actually had a job in my own place, which I can't remember if I lost them before I moved up here or they got broken and I didn't have the money to buy a new pair, one and two.
Are you sure you'll be alright without your glasses? There are a lot of places to catch your foot or dress on.
And the cheapest place so far that I can see where I can get them from is from Walmart with my medical, and that's still $146. I gotta have to get them. The eye exam is free. That's all that my medical covers that the state gives me. And after that, it's all in your own pocket. But usually after I get my check on the 1st or the end of each month, my GA check, General Assistance, which is only $102. Then after going to the check cashing place to cash it, that leaves me with $98 to play with. Then $50 for my phone bill. Then the rest of it goes towards, like my body wash, toothpaste, mouthwash, and anything else I need for the month. And after that, I'd be lucky to have $8 left over. Then if I do have any money left over, the urge to go buy some junk food like chips and pop eventually takes over like halfway into the month, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go buy me some pop or some chips. Something to munch on. Then I'm broke for the rest of the month. Margaret laughs slightly.
I'm sure I'll be fine.
She sighs softly and sighs me teasingly.
Really, you are too much.
She then accepts. Together we head towards the interior of the island. Margaret and I head through the wooded part of the island. There isn't anything that could be called a path. But we manage to pick our way through the bush quite well. Through a thinning stand of trees, we briefly catch sight of the guide standing on one of the beaches. He seems fine, but even though I'm sure he'd turn his head towards me, he makes no show of acknowledging us. We move on and eventually find Bendel in a jagged clearing leaning against a tree. He's already noticed us and is looking our way, smiling as we approach. I pick up on the sadness behind his jovial expression.
How are you faring? Any problems?
Everything is fine. We came to check on you.
How kind. I've calmed down since then.
I'm glad to hear that. Is there any way I can help or anything you'd like to say?
He raises an eyebrow at that, still grinning.
I didn't expect to see you so worried about me, Kika.
I had to force myself not to avert my eyes at that comment, embarrassment flowing into me.
You ought to not question it, you know. Simply be thankful for all her thoughtfulness.
He nods and chuckles heartily.
Right.
I feel a warmth that turns my lips up into a shy smile. Margaret nods approvingly. Bemlo glances between Margaret and I, smiling coyly over the exchange. His amusement doesn't last, however. Instead, he throws his arms out wide with a sour expression.
Have you seen the guide?
Bemlo is clearly asking out a sense of obligation, makes no secret that he's not pleased to be discussing the guide. I nod in response.
I saw him earlier. He is the same as always.
Good. In that case, I'm going to stretch my legs for a bit. I feel stiff from standing in one place for so long.
Wait, I can't help but wonder if it's the best idea to keep splitting up and wandering off. We've all had time to ourselves to think. I believe we should stay together now.
She has a point. We can't be sure how safe this island truly is.
Well, I've had my fair share of being difficult lately. I can accept that if you feel so strongly about it. I'd still like to take a walk, if you two don't mind joining me.
We don't have much time to contemplate the offer before he chimes in once more.
I could also go for a nap.
Dude, we all just literally the first thing we did is once we got to the island was pass out. I smiled softly at his attempt to be accommodating to us despite our sudden intrusion. I would not mind walking. Memo grins and glances over at Margaret.
What do you think?
I am the one who wanted us to stick together. I'm not going to put a wedge in the plan. I'll come along.
Glad to hear it.
The three of us begin our walk, conversing lightly as we meander around the island. As we walk, I can feel my worries easy into a light burden. Peek over at Bemo and Margaret, noticing the brightness in their eyes, the cheer in their voices, and know they feel the same. After all the horror of the night, finally we have a reprieve. Bemo speaks some anime as he finishes another of his tales.
So he tries to force his way into that old barn by kicking the door open. His foot ends up going right on through the wood and gets stuck.
Margaret and I change a look at sharing unspoken amusement.
I'm curious. This fellow guard you've been speaking of, wouldn't happen to be a stand-in for yourself, would he?
He certainly wouldn't. Must you always doubt my word?
Bimel playfully phrased distress while Margaret laughs.
Yes, Kika's far too polite, so someone has to keep you from getting too big-headed.
Fine, fair enough. But what if I told you the fellow guard in my story was actually Kika?
Then I'd have to tease her for committing a blunder that seems like one you would make, of course.
You're a harsh one, Margaret. I'm not safe from your verbal lashings no matter what I say.
You make it much too easy for me.
Margaret grinning full of mirth, she looks towards me.
Kika, you aren't upset by that, are you?
Her face grows with concern. She's probably questioning if she's taking it too far by targeting me. I smell warmly, shake my head.
I'm glad to be included.
Margaret immediately looks relieved, returning to her joking, snobbish expression. This familiar strange with her has made me brave. I take a deep breath.
And in all fairness, I'd also have to give myself a difficult time if I made a mistake befitting Bemele.
As she glances over. I glance between Brimel and Margaret, nervously trying to gauge their reaction to my attempt to adding to the conversation. After a moment, they both start to smirk. Then Brimel lets out a hearty laugh.
I can't believe I've been betrayed this way, after all we've been through.
Margaret smoothly applauds my efforts. I smile timidly at their reaction.
You've come so far, Kika.
Margaret gazes at me fondly. Do the same thing. Catch Margaret's eye, and we spend a moment sharing a gentle connection. For a brief moment, ooh, this guy achievement. Company. For a brief moment, all of troubled circumstances seem to float away from our minds, and we enjoy each other's company. I wish it could go on for so much longer, but it's only a while later that I have to speak up.
We really should rest before nightfall.
I'm fine with that idea.
Alright?
Bimmel leads us over to the area where the guy mentioned we were going to meet. Margaret and I sit together. She lightly rests her head against my shoulder. The three of us gently wait for the guide's arrival, occasionally chatting with one another as we rest. The sky turns orange as sunset comes upon us. Okay, if it's so not safe to go during the night, why did you guys wait till it got dark again? I would have been gone after the little nap we took as soon as we got to shore. I would have been gone. I'd been like, nope, okay, well, sun's up. Let's use that to our advantage and get the F out of here. But no, let's wait till it gets dark again. As the color seems to drain from the world, being consumed by the fog, the guide makes his appearance.
It's almost time.
I nod and feel myself grow tense. We truly are about to return to those bridges. All of us wait in an uncomfortable silence until night falls. We silently stand as one, forming a virgil of sorts, our remaining lanterns illuminate the dark, prepared for tonight's journey. And yet, a way forward does not appear. The bridges haven't risen from the depths. I glance to my side. The guy doesn't look at all pleased. The corners of his mouth have a heart spent as he briefly loses himself to heavy thoughts.
We must go to the shore.
He doesn't offer explanation why. Instead, he goes on without us. I follow after the guide, my forehead creasing with swelling worry. Behind me, I hear Brimel and Margaret on the sure footsteps. Four of us press onto the shore. The dark waters slap at the edges of the sand, and as suspected, the maze is still hidden beneath the surface. Okay, wait. So these walkways that we were having so much issues on in the first part and the beginning of this episode. They disappeared during the day. Who the hell will make a bridge disappears during the day? What the fuck? The guy grips his staff tighter still, his knuckles turn ghostly white. He sucks in the breath of air like he's about to speak, but he hesitates. We all stare at him expectantly. After a moment more, the guy is fed up with waiting.
The bridges are late. If they don't arrive as soon as darkness falls, there's no telling exactly how long it will be before they do.
Okay. Bimbo's face immediately sours and he isn't able to stay silent about his feelings.
So we're going to waste our time standing idly by. There's hardly enough time to make the trip as it is.
Complaining won't make these bridges come any sooner, though I sympathize with your frustrations. The wait had already been tense as it was. Not knowing how much longer it will last makes it that much more dreadful.
Time is by far the least of our worries. On the bridges we are constantly moving, which makes it easier to avoid the prowlers. However, this island does not offer that luxury. We're trapped here.
My body goes rigid as his words sink in.
More importantly, the bridges are raised above the waters. Nixie have difficulties pulling themselves up onto the bridges. The soft sloping of the shore will allow far more prowlers to drag themselves towards us. Not all will be as dangerous as the ones we've encountered thus far. However, we could easily be overwhelmed.
A pit forms deep in my stomach. I stare at him, aguish. I had no idea the situation was that dire. I glance from the waterline to the trees. What I'm looking for, I don't know. A sign what might to come, perhaps.
I wonder if those fires had anything to do with this.
The mill words are biting as he wonders aloud. The guide answers Bimbo's firmly, wanting to put an end to his speculation.
No. Whatever magic controlling the bridges is inconsistent. Humans haven't found a way to impact it. We can only do temporary physical damage to the boards.
Wait, what? So they're okay, so it sounds like humans didn't make the bridges. Something else made the bridges. This is obviously... hopefully not the creatures that the Nix or whatever they're called, because that'd be kind of weird. But it might be a way for them to get to their prey easily. Oh. So the bridges are magical, apparently. Well, I'm gonna go for a little bit longer. Bimbo is still displeased. Margaret moves into disgust. Her mood is rapidly declining as well.
Then what should we do? We shouldn't stay on the shore if the monsters could be coming towards us at any moment.
The guy closes his eyes and suddenly looks very worn down.
Staying in the center of the island is the safest option. However, there's the risk that we may not be able to reach the bridges when they do rise. Prowlers could have taken full control of the shore by then. Remaining here with our lanterns will ensure the prowlers cannot move freely.
My brow involuntarily knit together. I don't like the sound of taking additional risks in an area that is already so dangerous, but our options are thin.
I will not be kept on this island for another day, so the shore is where I will be. You may wait at the edge of the forest, or even at the center of the island if you fear being attacked. If the prowlers come between us and you fail to make it to the bridges, I will leave you behind.
Bimbo spits hatefully under his breath.
Of course you would.
True generosity is not something I would expect from the guy, but that is not the conversation we need to have at this moment. The guide has made his decision, and we must make ours.
If you were staying by the shore, perhaps I could be positioned somewhat further back from you. And then the others could stay further back still. That would keep us safer, without having any major gaps of darkness between us and the shore.
Good suggestion, Kika.
I'd say that's likely our best option, and we don't have time to come up with any other way regardless.
Settled on the manor, the three of us begin to move away from the guide. He pays little attention to us, instead silently fixing his eyes on the water. Take my place in the middle of the shore while Bella and Margaret hover closer to the island's core on the line between dirt and sand. After getting a sense of where they are, I turn my gaze ahead. At first I think I'm being fooled by the fog. There are several white dots playing along the edges of the water. Ha ha ha. Oh, that's creepy. Dark glows look into the surface and I see them for what they are. Eyes. So many white dribbling eyes, gleaming sharply against the pitch black bodies as the Nixie bob up and down. They surface and disappear in a loop each time, more sets of eyes closer, surveying us more intently. Then they cackle, the sound is atrocious gurgling, then turning high pitch as they seem to take full stock of us. The lights in their eyes somehow seem brighter as the first of the Nixie dig their claws into the sand and begin dragging themselves upon the shore. I plant my feet firmer. A shrill shriek pierced the air, accompanied by a telltale hiss. I lift my head backwards towards the sound, only to be greeted by cold black darkness. I cry out desperately into the void where Margaret and Bimbo stood.
What happened?
There's silence, then the best sound possible. Margaret's voice replies, Albert shakingly.
There was a prowler in the woods. I didn't notice it until it was already too close to me. I dropped my lantern when I saw it. The light was enough to drive it away, but now it's gone. Shattered.
Oh, great. Now we're down, I think, to like, what, 2 lanterns instead of having 3? Or before we probably had like 4. Or now we're down to 1 and 2. And I did it again, didn't I? I swerved my head back to make sure the shore is still clear before I sprint over to release them from the darkness with my own light. Margaret stares down at the ground abjectly when I arrive. Vilma has his hands placed on her shoulder.
I didn't see the thing either. The monster blended in far too well with the dark, crooked trees of this place.
He gives me a sad smile as I approach the 2 closer.
We can make a small fire for light.
Margaret sniffles loudly.
That may work for now. But what will we do once we're back on the bridges?
We will manage.
I speak firmly, trying to assure her that I can't even guess how effective the tent was. Bemil begins to gather dry twigs, stones, and grass to craft the fire with. Margaret moves to help him, though she still looks terribly upset. I feel awful. It wasn't her fault. We dig a few inches down in the sandy soil before making an edging with the rocks to stop the fire from giving us a repeat of last night. I layer the food quickly and light a match at the base of the pit. Margaret strokes the fire with Brindle's feeding twigs. The grass ignites easily and showers the area with enough light to keep anything else that may be lurking in the forest at bay. I release a discreet sigh. We've truly lucky no one was injured or lost during this ordeal. I keep that thought to myself, however, hearing it would only make Margaret feel worse. Alright, I am going to end the recording here. So I'm going to go save. Save over this file? Yes. Alright. So see you guys in the next one, which be sometime down the road. So, bye-bye.